The first thing I recommend doing is pinning the extension icon to the toolbar at the top of your browser. To do that, just click the puzzle piece, find Shades in your list of extensions, and hit the pin command. There. Now the icon, which is that black and white square that just appeared on your toolbar, can be clicked anytime. It brings up a list of commands that you can use when working with the extension's more advanced features. But more on that later. So let's go to a website. How about yahoo.com? When the extension is active, thin gray bars will appear at the left, right, and bottom edges of your screen. You can drag these with your mouse to whatever position you like on your screen. Then release your mouse. You can adjust these at any time by dragging them again. There's a shade on the bottom, and there's a shade on the left, where most of your control buttons live. There. Now you know 70% of what you need to know to use the extension. To access the control buttons, just position your mouse toward the edge of the screen and they'll magically appear. Now let's reset the shades to their extreme side positions so I can show you how the zero function works. It's a different way to position your shades. The zero function basically snaps the shades to whatever element you select with the plus sign. You can select a video, an image, or a block of text. This feature is particularly useful for videos because they'll adapt dynamically in the future. So if you later visit that page and there's a different video there having a different width, the shades will automatically adapt to frame the new video. Also, using the zero function lets you do in one step what normally would take two steps. You can activate this function either by clicking the Z on the left shade or by hitting Control 0 on your keyboard. There are lots of ways to hide and revive shades. First, you can click the X button. Second, you can click the L, R, and B buttons to hide and revive the left, right, and bottom shades, respectively. Hitting the Power Off button will hide all three shades at once. To revive them, just reload the page. Now let's discuss the Pause feature. Clicking it hides the page for a few seconds, and then it comes back. However, if you're typing on the screen, or moving your mouse, or clicking on the screen, it extends the timer on each interaction. This is a feature, not a bug, since sometimes you need to interact with something complicated under a shade, and you don't want it automatically reviving itself until you're ready. The pause function is so useful and will be used so often that I've created a shortcut. You can double-click a shade anywhere, and it will automatically activate the pause function for that shade. If you find that it's too easy to accidentally trigger the pause feature, you can increase the number of clicks required to 3 or 4 by using the number of clicks button in the pop-up menu. You can adjust the opacity of the shade by using its slider control. You can set the opacity of each shade individually. If you prefer, you can use the control in the pop-up menu. It's called Set Default Opacity Level to set them all at once. After you've picked a default opacity level, you can fix it for just that page, or just for that website, or just for every website you ever visit. Now we get to the really fun bit. This pretty much explains itself, so I'll just shut up while you watch. The last thing I need to explain is blacklist and whitelist mode. You can set up shades in blacklist mode, which means that every page gets shades applied automatically, except those that you've blackballed or blacklisted. Or you can set up shades in whitelist mode, which means that shades are never applied automatically. They're only applied to the websites you've chosen by adding them to your whitelist. You can edit your blacklist and whitelist and blackballed pages list by clicking the L button on the control strip. There is more you can learn about shades and how it works, but I hope its more complicated and seldom used features are fairly self-explanatory. If not, please read the documentation page. You can find that in the pop-up menu under the entry titled Instructions.